Hi friends, welcome back. You guys know what time it is. Time for those top 10 lists, yeah? With 2022 in the rear view, I want to take a look back at what my favorite figures were for the year. That's a tall order, man. Just like Hasbro alone put out something ridiculous like 200 Marvel Legends. What is this? What is this? This isn't gonna be like a technically, what are the, this is just the ones that I had the most fun with. It's gonna be Caveat City, if it's like a reuse of a design of a body mold or something we got in a previous year, I'll dock it points for that. And I'll say that if it's something that's made it into my list. There's gonna be runners up and colorful guests and all kinds of nonsense happening here. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Toy Lips list. Wanted to start it off with some nice honorable mentions though. The Marvel Legends female body sculpts, they are better than they have ever been. Still far from perfect. Of course, we want to see more articulation in the waist area here. I like the way the Mafex does, where it's like another ball joint down into the waist, so you get twist and extra pivot and stuff. I think that would be the way to go. Female figures have often got the short end of the stick articulation wise. The excuse has long been because it's smaller parts and it's harder to get that proper tooling into those parts. But at this point, we do have females with double jointed pinless arms and legs, and they're really nice. We're getting some really good ones. All three of these are on the same body molds. They're just churched up with different overlays and things. So they're doing better than they ever have been, and I do want to spotlight that. That said, none of these ladies have made the actual top 10 because there's too much jank. But I love them still the same. Electra, look at this Electra we just got. Come on. She can't even stand because of this hair. I'm lying. It's great. She can stand fine because she has a hot new articulation and like flat feet. But leave a like on this video and let me know what your top 10 figures are right here in the comments. In the runner-up category, I wanted to give it to old Steve Strange here. This is the Marvel Legends Walmart exclusive Doctor Strange. The first like legit classic Doctor Strange from Hasbro, and it is generally a fantastic figure. Small stuff like it's still got visible pins and single jointed elbows. The cape is stuck to the figure itself. He came with the damn orange effects. I like the green. What are you gonna do? You got a whole bunch of these, right? So this figure is just a runner-up also because this is in no way the right color. It shouldn't blend in with the shirt there. Just make that a lighter color, bordering on a white, if you will. They just did it to just a slightly lighter blue. You can't even make it out there, can you? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Otherwise, though, this is the best Doctor Strange ever. Best Doctor Strange ever. Of course, it isn't perfect. You're not going to get perfect from these guys because they're trying to future-proof for their company, though. You need to leave room for improvement, right? Okay, here we go, into the top 10 proper. My 10 favorite action figures of 2022 kicks off with number 10, Captain America. This is the 20th anniversary of Marvel Legends edition. And what do you know? Best version of Captain America that we have been given. Mostly reuse of the 80th anniversary of Captain America. You got to get all your anniversaries straight, you know what I mean? But this is a lighter, more vibrant color scheme on this figure, which I do enjoy a little bit more. It is in large part the old Onslaught Wave Captain America figure with the same pirate boots and all of this, but this is like a softer overlay, this nice scaled piece there. The head sculpt is new, it looks great. I love this strap system, that it's a fixed piece too, that it's not two pieces like before. Yank that shield off of there. Yeah, you can see it joins there, and it's got a little port for the shield in the back, this awesome color all the way around it. I'm missing a fleck of paint on the star there, probably from one of the several times he's fallen off of the shelf that's like 8 feet off of the ground. But really, it's not his fault, it's Iron Man's fault. This guy came out way back towards the beginning of the year. Some people may have even gotten it the previous year. Not I, not I. It's a lot of reuse still, so he does have the visible pins, but again, they're not going to give you that definitive. It's incremental. These are incremental upgrades. You'll see a re-release of a very similar Captain America in the future with pinless. Maybe on a Vulcan body. Why would they? This almost looks like a diaphragm cut the way they have that set though. But I think he looks so clean. So fresh and so clean. Moving on to number 9. Again, these are figures that I have had a lot of fun with this year. Not necessarily mechanically the best figure. There's gonna be reuse. I'll throw in all these caveats. It's gonna be some sick nightmare, but it's full of awesome toys like this Venom that they finally kicked us on the Omega Red body, which again would just be sort of a reuse of that animated series Venom. But who really asked for that strange, too big, weepy looking head on that one? Didn't it come with 2 weepy looking heads? This one, I do like the King in Black version, but this one edges it out a little bit for me. I think that it fits better. I'm a kid of the 90s, and so you get all of this great Eddie Brock 90s era stuff. This sort of halfway head really puts that sucker over the top. And I think for the spider logo, this is a better choice than the diaphragm cut. He's got the waist twist and the ab crunch, and it doesn't really break up that big, bold spider. I really, really enjoy this. I think the proportions are great. The only thing weird is just the shoulder transition. It's just a little bit of laziness on Hasbro's part, because this was originally for Omega Red, and he had an overlay on the shoulder, and they thought, who's going to see that gap? Well, how about everybody when you reuse it for the Venom you've been promising us? Now make us a Sabretooth on this body, and, you know, I'll be good. I'll be good. Number 9, Venom. While we're here, though, honorable mention is that King in Black Venom. He's nearly just as good. I just think this diaphragm action is wrong for this figure. Any amount of twist breaks up the spider logo. And then the way they've got this down here, the bottom of that is always buried in there. If you've got him neutral posed, you have to bend this back unnaturally to even see that. Also, the feet are wrong, and he doesn't have butterfly shoulders, and he's got this weird texturing all over it because it's just a repaint of the movie Venom. Not bad, not bad. This is better. Hi, number 8. Number 9. You're fired. A lot of the MCU action figures, the Marvel Legends ones, they're great, you know? They're a lot of unique sculpting, but they look so drab, and they're so funny in certain ways, and they're
what
really
about
meant
all
to
the
hit
Eternals?
certain beats. They're like, well, here's this show, we gotta put out these characters.
Nonsense!
It's whatever. It's
Rintra!
whatever.
That's what you
But
want!
My number 8 on the list is one of my very favorites. I think this is a great figure. The MCU She-Hulk. This is a really solid figure. All unique sculpt, because she's big, she's burly, she's pinless. It looks oh so clean and creamy. Look at that skin tone, too. That's awesome. And this little purple jumper thing she's wearing, it's a modern, you know, sort of like workout clothes-ish, but a nod to the 1980s outfit. And for those of you that didn't get that, she's fourth wall breaking. Who is she? Deadpool? She was doing this first. All that stuff in the show rings very true to the comics from way back. You know what I mean? I just watch it through a second time, and that's quality programming. This thing has all the modern amenities, the colors really pop, and it's really nice to play with. It's one of those where it's like borderline, almost nice like an import figure. Everything just works. The joints and everything are really smooth. It's just a really solid figure, man. Some people might be sleeping on this, sleeping on that show, sleeping on Phase 4, sleeping their friggin' lives away, bro. Get up and play with some toys. So 2022 is the 60th anniversary of The Amazing Spider-Man. Even so, the X-Men got plenty of love. A VHS line ultimately leading up to a revival, a sequel to the 90s cartoon series. X-Men 97 supposed to debut later in 2023. To build excitement, Hasbro has been issuing X-Men characters in a cel-shaded style based on the animated series. Number 7, we have Cyclops. This is the updated Cyclops on the Vulcan body that everyone has been clamoring for, and he even features the correct color schemes. Man, that one from years ago, it was orange. We all know it was orange. Don't let anyone lie to you. This thing might be cel-shaded, and in a lot of ways it looks funny. It's just a smear of something on his foot, you know? But it's not too bad, especially in the blue. It just looks like a little bit of shading, especially you put him up on your shelf. I do like this head. Their new system for the visor, it gets wonky as hell. Mine's not too bad, but I have seen some crazy ones. I do want to spotlight the new body mold they've been throwing out in this year, just a couple of them. Here is his brother, Vulcan, the first figure to use this, and so we call it the Vulcan body now. And it looks really nice, really clean. It's a little bigger and bolder than that old school Bucky cap. Other honorable mentions, of course, T'Challa, the Black Panther. This is also a great figure. Great Black Panther. It is just very, very basic. There's like no paint on it. But again, if you can't tell, these are all the same body mold here. It's the flourishes here that really church the thing up. I'm really into that. I'm happy to see them remaking certain characters from the Bucky Cap era on this bigger and better mold. Cel-shaded VHS X-Men honorable mentions, though. I know, nobody likes this cel shading. It is a pretty lazy cel shading, but they're not all bad. I think it looks pretty good on Storm, and I think in general this is a really nice looking figure. Mostly these VHS ones they're just repaints, perhaps with a new head. This is perhaps their best Storm head. And this is just a nice white costume to satisfy anyone. It's black, it's white, it's silver, you know. Taking it way back here too. about that Wolverine. That is such a nice Wolverine. I know some of the tiger stripes are a little bit lopsided, but try not to focus on that, because otherwise he just looks so clean, and they really all fit well together. It's some freakish shame that these cost several dollars more than regular releases, considering especially that most of them are just repaints with nice new heads. Cyclops, though, is the cream of the crop as far as it's a brand new body mold, and it's the one that we've wanted for a Cyclops. This nice Hyperion body. Looks so clean with the pinless tech on the arms and legs. Moving on. As I did mention, 2022 being the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man, we have gotten some seriously solid Spider-Man action figures. What better way to celebrate your property than an anniversary release? And what better anniversary release than the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man? Oh! A couple years ago, they put out a new Spider-Man on the retro body. Really solid, really posable, all of these great amenities. But this year, last year, we get a very slight update here. The figure, again, with pinless technology and toe articulation. Really cool for a Spider-Man figure. The Amazing Fantasy, Amazing Friends animated series figure that we've gotten that's a little bit smaller, that is also a really nice Spider-Man. For me, this one edges it out a little bit. All of this heavy musculature, it really reminds me of like the Mark Bagley art that was prevalent when I was a kid. And also, when I was a kid, Spider-Man was a grown-ass man. He's like in his 30s. He was teaching school for a while. This is how he is. He's supposed to be like 5'10", so he's a little bit shorter than other characters, but taller than Wolverine, you know? So we're gonna step over here and we're gonna grab, like, say, Hyperion body Cyclops. If you put them side by side, you can see that Cyclops is definitely bigger. So there are people that are saying that this Spider-Man is too big, but I think a lot of those people come from that place where Spider-Man is a kid. That's the MCU. Anyway, talking all that noise, this is the Amazing Friends Spider-Man. It is on a slightly smaller and less defined body sculpt. It is great. It is still very nearly every bit as posable as the other one. It doesn't have the toe joints. Like I said, though, for my number 6 pick, the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man just edges the other one out that little bit for me. This is Spider-Man. It is a thing of beauty. This is an incredible toy. Yeah, everyone's throwing their hat in the toy ring these days. There's a lot of money on this toy table. So at number 5 here, I want to throw something interesting up there. This is from Fury Toys. This is the Samurai Animal Spring. Kind of looks a lot like Leonardo though, right? This thing is really sharp, really solid figure, a really solid effort from a company that just didn't have the money or the whatever to get a hold of a proper Ninja Turtles license for itself. But it knew that it had put out such a quality product. It's like, we're gonna try and see if we can get something for this. A lot of people were taking a chance. I thought that I would as well. I am very happy with this little figure. Single jointed arms here, but he's got double jointed legs, and while they do have visible pins, they've like filed them down and textured them to match the sculpt and everything. It's a really nice effort. The paintwork all over this thing is just consistently fantastic. He comes with a whole host of swappable parts to make him a slightly less recognizable samurai, or optional swords and this nice Leonardo head. He's also got some soft goods mixed in, which is weird, but it's really not that bad. I mean, the bandana looks kind of like trash, but there's just, you can see there's a lot of love that went into this thing. And for me that means a lot. There's a lot of Hasbro toys on this list, man, but there's almost no love there, you know? Or rather, it seems closer to be like, well, we gotta crank out a dozen crappy ones to give you the one good one. And that sucks, but that's business, right? Well, that's not the model over here. Everything these guys have been putting out, it looks great. This is my first and only. But assuming they don't get cold feet and make all the other turtles gigantic, I'm going to get the rest of those. This says 1/12 scale, but yeah, it's a little short. He's a little short for that. But it's just such a nice figure. The Fury Toys, not Leonardo. That's number 5 on the list. Now, as far as comic book publishing dates, the Ninja Turtles are exactly as old as I am. And it's like if 2022 is the year of Spider-Man, 23 is the X-Men, you know, the last several years have been the year of the Ninja Turtle. Because of NECA Toys. For several years now, they have been putting out action figures from the cartoons, from the movies, the video games, and the comic books. Just recently, we're getting Archie Comics iterations of characters like Slash. The paint and the sculpt, and this is actually a lot of reuse of the cartoon Toka, actually. But what are you going to do? You don't get a lot of great opportunities for reuse with a lot of that stuff. But these are the guys to talk to about like different kind of shadings, toon shading or comic shading. Just these heavier contour lines, you know? This is just such a solid figure. Very clean, very well articulated, visible pins like they do, stuck joints from paint and other crap also like they do. Prices going up and up and up. But still, this is a really nice toy. I am stoked on this Slash figure, and that's why he takes my number 4 spot. Now, as I sort of alluded to, the Ninja Turtles were created in 1984 by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. I mean, I'm sure they were working on it before that, but that was the year the first comic was published. And to this day, they still run Ninja Turtles comics. The OG creators had something of a falling out many years ago, but they have since reconciled, and the both of them came together to work on sort of the final Ninja Turtles story. A mini-series out of continuity-ish, just sort of an alternate future. I hope that's not the real future, if you will. A story called The Last Ronin. You guys know where I'm going with this. NECA Toys, not to be outdone. They gotta grab that property. They gotta give us some toys. Playmate did a couple too. Those don't look too bad. But you ain't gonna see a Playmate's toy on this list, bud. So, at number 3, we have the NECA Toys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin figure. Plural, let's say. Got both of them. They're essentially the same toy from the waist down. Oh, the staff just went flying out of the back. Let me try to dial these in. Anyway, these are just really, really well put together. The same things I was saying about the Slash. This detail, these contour lines. There's like spotting on there. Some stiff joints, NECA figures. They almost don't make them for you to take out of the package, right? People take them out of the package, NECA. They're toys. They do better than ever with that. I don't think I've broken a NECA, actually. I've broken some other stuff, but be careful more than anyone else. NECA is real concerned with just quality paint jobs, just throwing that paint on, giving you all this cool stuff. So you might end up with a joint that's kind of painted shut. I'm just saying watch out for that. It's not a knock against them. But down here at the lower range, I know the prices go up everywhere. What does that mean anymore? But that's what you get with Hasbro and NECA and everybody at that level. You're going to get stuck joints and weird stuff. But you're also still going to occasionally get figures that blow you away and make your top 10, your top 5, your top 3, your number 3 pick right here. It is The Last Ronin. If you buy both of them, they each come with like a one weapon, you know, one of each, but then you get a set. You get a pair of chucks, you get a pair of size, you get a sword and a broken sword. You just get the one staff, but you get a whole host of other cool stuff. The little smoke bomb, some shuriken, and then you get 4 heads, and they're all swappable. Yeah. And I think together especially, it is a beautiful thing. If you're at all a fan of that, I think it's cool. It's a lot of fun. I don't need it to be so harsh for my Ninja Turtles, you know, I don't need things to be so harsh, but to just have that story out there. For me, like I said, it was just that both original creators were involved that signed off on it for me. I was like, okay, we'll give that a shot. And everyone's there and everyone's loving it. But for me, more than anything, I am loving these toys, these action figure offerings. More to come. Okay, here's another fun one. Number 2 on my list. There are 4 of them. What could it be? What could it be? It is from a sequel. It is from a part 2. It is from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to The Secret of the Ooze. These suckers finally came in for me from NECA Toys. Like, on December 30th. On December 30th, they come in. That's why it's crazy to me. The guys are putting these lists out in 2022, man. You don't even know what figures you got yet. There are days left. There are days left. Here was the one I picked to spotlight. That was this Raph. I love this facial expression. I know by the second movie, the masks were a little bit different. Some people are a little, you know, less expressive, less Jim Henson. But look at that sucker. These look so good. Caveats, you know, it's like mostly the same sculpt as the Turtles from the first movie, but these are updated so well. And it looks like if that's not the same shell piece and they've trimmed the edges, you know, different colors, different detailing, and different heads. And if you have the accessory pack, you have even more heads.
You get a Keytar and a snapping turtle.
Outstanding figures. I have been having such a good time with these. They are beautiful, beautiful toys, especially down at this level and at this price point-ish, you know, wherever we're at, $20, $30, $40 or whatever. NECA does not mess around with that paint. You get all these subtle shades and the liver spotting and all this cool stuff. I do prefer that original movie that edges it out a little bit, of course, as a grown man watching children's movies. Still a great comic book movie in general, I think. The second one, sure, it's fun, but it's a lot of noise. You know, don't think too much about it. We got him here too, because this my boy is Leo. You're my boy, Blue. Sausage Festival. And I think he just looks really, really good. All of these turtles. And then especially, too, they're going to be on, like, the same body sculpts. They can all share this spot together. Hi. Hi, friends. Look at the faces on these. Look at the faces on these. These are so good. This is outrageous. These were very nearly my top spot. These just blew in at the end of the year and were very nearly #1. Like I said, I want fairness, you know, because they're mostly reused. But this is my list. This is my list. You can leave yours in the comments, and you should, because I want to know. One final honorable mention. Here we have the Hasbro Marvel Legends Symbiote Spider-Man. It is on that Renew Your Vows body, retro body, because it still has visible pins and it doesn't have the toe articulation. But it really is a nice, clean looking figure. Very, very poseable. Very Weasley, little drop down hips and all kinds of weird crap you don't always see from a Marvel Legend. It's got the really nice butterfly shoulders. But there were a couple other companies that put out black costumed Spider-Mans. And one could debate fairness, but again, my list, my favorite figure, the figure I've had the most fun with that I got in 2022. That is the Medicom Mafex Black Costume Spider-Man Secret Wars Edition with the little blue foot. Yes, friends, yes. These things might cost 4 times as much as a Marvel Legend, and I'm just on paper, it's like, is it 4 times better than this guy? Yes, yes it is. I used to say no, but you can't know that until you have one of these in hand. Something that people don't always talk about with these import figures, the Mafex here, it's like right out of the box, all of the joints just work. None of them are stuck or funny, and they don't just have like little funny positions in between where you want. It can go anywhere in here. The smoothness of every joint and little stuff like this. When you bend the knee, look at this design here. It doesn't break up the shape of that. How awesome! You know, standard Hasbro stuff, they bend really well, but you bend these things and they look crazy. You're like, you know? Not so here. You bend this elbow and it keeps that nice smooth shape to it. The way that everything just works on these is really, really nice. I think maybe the head is a little big, and we did get another one, and they're very similar with the eye styles. I think there should be a couple extra heads, or at least just make them very different. Narrow the eyes on one of them way down or something. The other thing is they sculpted this spider on here and then tried to paint in it, and they didn't quite hit everywhere. And for a premium figure, man, I would like that to be perfect, and you didn't have to sculpt it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to sculpt it. You shot yourself in the foot sculpting it. I cannot believe how nice it is. And we don't even talk pinless tech, because that's just what they do, you know? Hasbro over here acting like it's some new thing that they invented, and we should all be so grateful. We should all be so grateful. Half my freaking figures, I think I'm over here ripping on them, half my figures on this list are Hasbro. I love their stuff pound for pound. What it is I can build out all of these teams and all these eras, characters across different decades and so forth. That's the kind of thing that really gets to me. It's just a longtime comic book fan. All of Wolverine's different costumes, you know, building the different teams he was in from different eras and so on. If you like bought all the Mafex figures, you'd have like 6 Spider-Man toys and you wouldn't have any villains, you know? So you can't really, they did a Venom and a Carnage, I know, but still, I mean, I have like 30 or 40 Spider-Man villains that are Marvel Legends. They're great. So for me, overall, it's like, I would have to say probably that Hasbro's, their stuff is my favorite. They got my favorite property, and they're really speaking my language with all the swappable parts, different heads, different costumes. I'm here for that stuff all day. I wish the quality was better. I wish that we could have a firm and frank discussion about pricing versus what we can get for it. You know what I mean? Everything's such a secret. We live in this world where these guys, these companies, the big soulless corporations put a face on it. They put 3 guys out there to, hey, and to glad hand everybody. And but they don't get to say anything because of all of the secrets and the rules. And it's a little phony, but they're people too. They're people too. So you find that good middle ground, and we're having a better time than we ever have been. Golden age of toys, my friends. And I'm looking for a golden age of toy lips. I thank you all so much for stopping by. This has been a lot of fun. A little stressful. You're trying to rank a list. I'm like, what does any of it matter, man? It's just the ones that I have been enjoying. And it flips and changes as I've been building it. And Secret of the Ooze Turtles were almost my top spot. I was loving these guys so much. And, again, it's like a fairness. This is a different caliber of figure. But there's only the one in there, and he's at the top spot. So if you don't like that, just knock him off of there and slide everybody up one. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. This is the 2nd year of the lips, and I'm licking everything in sight. Leave a like on this video for me. It's just how it's done, right? And let me know in the comments what your list looks like. Check out one of these other videos over here, and look forward to much, much more from Toy Lips in the future. Thanks, guys.